me, right, that I'm on the front lines fighting for a woman, a Black woman that was killed, murdered.
Yes.
And there has been no judgment, no accountability.
None.
So it's only right that I'm
Right. Right.
So, I wanted to do this live with you, and I was so grateful that you were available because there are so many women suffering.
Yes.
There are so many women that are in pain every single month. There's so many women that all the men are like, okay, I'm dropping off now, I'm dropping off now. But men, let me tell you before you drop off, this is valuable information that you may need to have for your daughter, you may need to have for your sister, or for your wives. So this is information that you may absolutely need to listen to because our women are dying, not just from
literally dying, literally dying, literally.
Something that has affected us for a very long time, and Coach Gessie actually has the cure for it. So I want you, Coach, to introduce yourself. I'm going to get a stand, and I'm going to go to somewhere, a quiet place,
Okay.
so that they can really hear you, and I get with my baby real quick.
Okay.
But please introduce yourself.
I will. And just first of all, to tag along to what you just said about why this is important to men, because fibroids affect women's sex lives. It affects your sex life. It affects your connectedness to your spouse. So I'm going to get into that. So stay tuned around that, definitely. But specifically, I love you, sis, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to have this conversation with you because I am one of the Black women who battle fibroids. For 90% of Black women who battle fibroids before the age of 50. I was 30 years old when I was diagnosed, and the reason is because I was trying to have a baby. My husband and I were trying to conceive, and 6 months, and it wasn't happening. And that brought us to the GYN to find out, ooh, I've got something called tumors. I got tumors? What, fibroids? What does that mean? And all these thoughts started to race through my head. Everything from, oh my God, is it cancer, right? Can I have babies? What does this mean? How is this going to affect me? And, it set me on this really what I call my $1 million baby journey, which really included 14 years battling the fibroids, and 10 of those years I battled infertility because of them. And guess what? I had 10 surgeries because of them. 5 of them were for fibroid surgeries to remove them. That included myomectomies, the UAE, UFE, the hysterectomy. So 5 different fibroid surgeries, and also 5 surgeries from complications from the surgeries. Issues I never had before the surgeries. I ended up having to have major surgery on my small intestines and other things that affected my digestive system to affecting me still now. All right. Years later in this process, because I didn't know that what the root cause were. The doctors weren't telling me. I had to go 5 IVF cycles, which is financially draining because they were like $10,000-$15,000 a pop. Insurance not covering them, and they weren't covering us for us as Black women, right? And on top of that, they were pumping my IVF is pumping your body with all these hormones that kept the fibroids coming back, Yandy. So that's why I had the 5 fibroid surgeries.
Let me start before you go into that, because I'm sure we're going to hear so much of your story. I want to take it back a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
There's some people that are tuned in that don't even know what fibroids are.
Absolutely.
Can you tell them a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So fibroids are smooth, but usually benign. 99.9% of the time they are benign, which means non-cancerous, smooth muscle tumors that actually occur in and around the uterus, okay? Which means depending on where they're located, it could be in the wall of the uterus, it could be inside the vaginal cavity, it can be outside the uterus. That will depend on the symptoms you experience. And when it comes to the kind of symptoms, it can be everything from specifically, remember I told you about the pain in intercourse, pain during intercourse, depending on where they're located, where you can't even have intimacy with your spouse, all right, to pelvic pain and cramps that have had women in the hospital several times a month, affecting their career lives because they're missing so much work, bleeding where they're losing so much blood that they end up in the ER because their blood count is so low that they can actually be now at risk for heart failure because of the anemia. All right. So we're talking about, when you said, and also in Black women, we experience them larger. We experience them in more number. We're more symptomatic, okay? And I can't wait to talk about why. And we also are, because they grow larger, we now are at risk for blood clots because of the restriction, how they can press up on arteries that can cause pulmonary embolism, which is blood clots that can travel to your lungs, can cause death. All right. So when you say that, it's very true. Very true. It's not hyperbolic. It's very true, Yandy. All right. So out here then being black in America, all right, which is, oh, even before that, because we get them more and we're more symptomatic, we are 7 times more likely to have myomectomies, and we are 4 more times to get hysterectomies. And what happens when you have a hysterectomy, Yandy? Can you have babies?
You cannot have babies.
So what happens to black babies? Be limited, right? It's about neutering us being able to have black babies.
I have always thought that it was a form of population control.
Yes, ma'am.
Because so quickly they tell black women, oh, you have fibroids? Oh, you have these issues? Just get a hysterectomy. And these women are 25.
Girl.
30-year-old women. Some have no children at all. And that is the cure. Get a hysterectomy. My mom, she got a hysterectomy after me. I'm an only child.
Because of that.
My mom got a hysterectomy right after me because that's what they told her needed to happen because she was in so much pain monthly.
It's crazy. So I was on an IG live with one woman doing one of our detoxes, the Detox 30 right now, which is what y'all started off with. 22 years old. She was told no life death symptoms. Okay. 22 years old. The doctor wanted to give her a hysterectomy. Just what you just said. But that happens all the time, Yandy. All right. This is a common conversation. Don't even have, see, there are scenarios where I'm not one of those nutritionists or coaches that feels like there's never a time for surgery, because sometimes you're in a life and death situation and surgery is needed to save your life. But we're talking about people who are not dealing with life and death situations, Yandy, right. And they're just doing it as a knee-jerk reaction for us. And we have to be on guard. And that's why we work so hard to educate our sisters on what's really going on and why we have to take a stand and protect our wombs, protect our lives, so we're protecting the future generations.
That's exactly right. I'm so thankful that you're able to share this call with me because there's so many women I'm trying to keep up with all the comments.
Right.
But so many women are talking about the different surgeries they've had and, how they're being told to have hysterectomies, partial hysterectomies. It's crazy. So what is the root cause of fibroids?
Powerful. So the reason they keep coming back after you have surgeries is because the root cause is never addressed. The surgery never addresses the root cause. And guess what? Even when you have a hysterectomy, it can now, the estrogen dominance is the root cause. Okay. I'm going to explain what that is, but the estrogen dominance is where estrogen, which is a hormone, right? Progesterone is the true female hormone that we actually need. When progesterone is too low in the body, estrogen is high. And then when estrogen is just too high, that causes estrogen dominance. Okay. And what that does is it causes inflammation in the body. All right. Now, depending on, it doesn't just cause fibroids, Yandy. Estrogen dominance, depending on where that inflammation is, where the weakness is in your body, that it can cause thyroid issues, it can cause diabetes and high blood pressure, it can cause cancer, it can cause endometriosis, like you just said, as well as fibroids, as well as cysts, all these issues that we battle with disproportionately. So, we've been doing this for 5 years now, Yandy, right? And we learned that the triggers for estrogen dominance are actually stress, diet.
I'm taking notes while you're I'm
okay. Stress.
So my sister suffers from this really bad, and several of my friends. So I want to be able to continue this conversation.
Excellent.
After this call.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
Don't mind me if you guys see me go off the camera. I'm just sitting here taking notes.
I love it. So let's break that down. The stress, the diet, and the pollutants is very important because as Black women, and here's the big deal, all right, for us as Black women, why we're disproportionately affected by it. Number one, you out there on those streets, Yandy, you fighting for justice, right? Guess what is being flooded in your body every day? Stress, right? And what I've been calling right now is the pre-existing condition of being Black in America has caused us to be disproportionately affected by these inflammatory conditions because we come with, first of all, we come with a history of the trauma of racism, all right? So the way we live, we have concerns that white women never have. We have concerns that white people never have, all right? We have fear. If you think about whether it was slavery to Jim Crow, right, to lynching, we specifically had to be concerned about things. We had our ancestors gave themselves to the masters, killing them because they were trying to protect their kids sometimes, trying to keep their kids from being sold off somewhere else. And guess what? The toxicity and the trauma is actually passed on genetically in the ovum and the sperm. So we have trauma that's being passed on generationally. Okay.
Exactly.
And then we have the mass trauma of the fact that the racism is still existing at different generations, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Someone said in the comments, well, just stop stressing, fibroids cured. It's not that simple.
It's not that simple.
There's mental exercise that need to happen to learn how to stop stressing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
From prayer to meditation and everything else, it just doesn't happen.
And guess what? Right now, we're in a mass trauma right now, Yandy.
People in your communities constantly being attacked, constantly being raped, constantly being killed. These are your children or your neighbor's children. You're going to have stress.
That's right.
And that stress directly causes inflammation.
Right, because it pumps your body with the cortisol. This is the connection. So the stress causes a chemical reaction that is called cortisol, and it is cortisol is necessary at certain levels, but then when we become overrun with cortisol, our body is causing mass inflammation throughout our bodies. And that mass inflammation is going to result in tumors. It's going to result in diabetes issues. It can result in high blood pressure. It can affect literally all these pain, all these different things. So go back to, there's the macro level that just being Black in America, we have to think, we have to work 2 times as hard, more than that, right? To be quote unquote considered enough. So think about what that does to your self-worth and your even thought about yourself. So there's a disconnect, there's a cognitive disconnection, because we're saying, no, I know my mommy told me I am enough. She told me you're good. What did Viola Davis said in The Help? You good, you is kind, you is important, right?
Right.
Why is it important? Because we have to tell ourselves that we are good, we're kind, but then we have to out there literally be super women, right? We have to be super women to be considered on par with our white counterparts, right? And what that does, it says you are not enough. And when we're internalizing that you are not enough, what we are saying is now cognitively, we're actually fighting to believe that really we are enough. And what that does in our self-worth is it causes us to seek validation and to be addicted to validation and other people's approval, right? And that causes a systematic stress that continues us in this cycle, right? And when I've looked at it in cases over and over, Yandy, in our patients, right? The women who've been able to reverse these conditions, the fibroids, the women who eliminated the 50 fibroids on our program naturally, was because we were attacking. It was the trauma healing. It was the stress management, changing the way, because, on Roland this week, this woman was saying, she said, hey, but Gessie, there are people who are single moms. Coach Gessie, she's a single mom. She's got the rent is due. We can't get away with it. We can't really eliminate the stress, right? And I had to push back on her. I said, but you know what? It's not just about the stress that's happening, because a lot of stress is going to happen. It's about how we have to shift our mindset of how we respond to that situation, right? How we mentally frame it, how we think about it, how we process it. And when we equip ourselves with that mindset change, this is where the healing happens.
Can you give us, I know when I did your program, it was really important for us to have contact and meet and talk,
right?
Because you helped me deal with things I didn't even know stressed me out. I didn't even know that a lot of the reactions to things that were going on in my life was stressful reactions,
right? And
you helped me with just meditating, taking a moment every couple of minutes to go in a peaceful place and be quiet. And
yes.
Still, say a quick prayer. I know that's a life lesson, that's an ongoing lesson.
Right.
But if there's just 3 tips that you can give the people that are tuned in, how to manage stress.
Yes.
Just on an elementary level, so they can start there. And then I'll encourage everyone, I'll send your information so that everyone can reach out and learn how to deal with stress as well.
Okay.
Can you give them 3 top?
Absolutely.
Again, someone said, why do you have a pencil? Because I'm taking notes.
Yes.
Some of you should as well.
Yes.
I got a group chat with all my girlfriends.
Yes.
And I'm going to send them this information bullet pointed so they know.
Yes.
Because so many of them, most of them, I'd say 90% of them have fibroids and are considering surgery or considering hysterectomies. And we're young, so that should not be what's on the table right now.
Amen. Amen.
That's why I'm taking notes, because I don't want to give misinformation.
Absolutely. So the first thing is, the first thing is taking time for self-care every day. All right. And this is important because we need to check in with now this is going to look in different ways. It's going to look like different things. So one of the things we talked about was the stop, breathe, and exhale exercise. And I actually wanted us all to just stop and take 2 what I call cleansing breaths together, because I want them to feel what it does with them. All right. So everybody, I want you to just close your eyes for a moment. All right. And I want you to, I'm going to guide you through this. You're going to breathe in for 8 counts. You're going to stop and hold your breath for 8 counts. And then you're going to breathe out for 8 counts. Okay. And when you're doing that, I want you to, again, close your eyes, and I want you to imagine yourself receiving, literally taking in love, taking in joy, taking in peace, taking in healing. You're going to hold it. And then when you let go, you're going to release your stress. You're going to release negativity. You're going to release toxicity. And even if you do that and you stop throughout the day and take like 1 breath, 2 of these breaths. So let's stop and do it together. Okay. Close your eyes, close everything off. And the way that we get silent is that we try to listen to your own breath. That's how you quiet it. The way I quiet my mind is I try to listen to my own breath. So we're going to say, start breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to exhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm actually going to pause there because just doing it for the count of 8, it allows you to slow down. All right. The world around you will tell you you have no time for yourself. That's a lie. The world around you will tell you that you got to grind until you can't anymore, meaning till you die. Grinding without taking time for self-care will kill you. The world around will tell you that there's no time to pause and to stop. And the truth is, changing your mindset and deciding and understanding that self-care is a non-negotiable by stopping to breathe. Modern Therapist talks about this in her book, right? Just Breathe. We have to stop because we're breathing throughout the day. We're having shallow breaths, but taking time to connect, close your eyes off and stop and connect be present with yourself in that moment. Okay?
Right.
Be present with yourself, even if it's 30 seconds. What will happen is you gain clarity on what's most important when you finish, all right? In that one, I try to do 10 minutes in the morning throughout the day, but throughout the day, when you just feel like something's wrong, just stop, breathe, and exhale, okay? And when you do that now, the next thing, when you stop and say, what's most important right now? Because 80% of the impact is going to be focused, is going to happen in terms of the most success and the impact you want is going to happen when we focus on the 20 critical mass, the 20%. It's called the Pareto principle. 80% of the impact should be done on, it's the idea that you get more accomplished when we focus on the fewer, more important things, right? So that means learning to say, okay, what's the most important thing I can get done today? And focus on that, because when you focus on that, it shifts everything else around. So every day I may have things on my list, but then I stop and I say, okay, what's most important now? Throughout the day, I'm reevaluating. So what we're doing is checking in with ourselves throughout the day. And the other thing is, eat foods that actually heal your body, because when we eat foods that actually cause more inflammation, it causes more anxiety. It causes us to not be able to process the reality of what we're going through, because it causes us to shut down. That's why we have our free food list at thedetoxnow.com. Because remember how when you started to eat more foods that electrify your body, your food after you eat, you should feel like you could run the world instead of, oh wait, I need a break right now. So being decided that I am worth the time it takes to eat foods that heal me, to use food as my medicine. Because guess what? Remember we talked about stress, diet, and pollutant being the 3 drivers of fibroids and other inflammatory conditions. When we do this, we are healing our body at the root. Okay, we're healing our body at the root level, and what we're saying is we're creating a sustainable lifestyle. And because the hysterectomies will not heal the issue, the surgeries will not heal the issue. It will give you a temporary that can now you can go from fighting fibroids to fighting cancer, because now after hysterectomy you're more susceptible to cancer. They don't tell you, the doctors don't tell you that. Right? That's why you got to reverse it and heal it at the root issue by taking care of yourself with the food that's not estrogenic, foods that heal you, with the thinking. Because remember, living a healthy, what I call detox living life, is examining life free of toxic thoughts, toxic habits, toxic people, and toxic foods. And that's the other thing. When I say toxic people, there are people that come up in your mind right away. When I say toxic people, there are people that come up in your mind right away. Those people,
just as bad as toxic food.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, more, because they are affecting your mind every day. Sometimes you're carrying them, okay? And what we have to do is decide what are the people that we need to put at a distance, and what are the people that we need to cancel in our lives, okay? This is very important, because when we give people that access in our space, they are now affecting what we are meditating on in your mind.
Honey, you taught me the art of cancellation.
Yes, ma'am.
Friends, family, whoever needs it. For
That's
your
it.
own mental stability.
That's it.
When I tell you it has been so cleansing.
Yes. No, unapologetically, Yandy. Some people,
You understand what I'm saying?
yes.
When I tell you that has helped me so much. Getting certain people out of my life has completely, I would say, healed so many mental things that I was going through, so much stress, so many sleepless nights, because I felt like I had to do so much work to maintain these relationships. And that's what it should be, a mutually beneficial thing.
But you know, that's so powerful, Yandy. That's so powerful, because guess what? What you had to break the lie that you owe it to somebody else to still allow them that space. You had to break that. And we have to come to that lie where, guess what? Saying no to you may make you feel sad, but it doesn't make me bad. I have to say no to you so I can say yes to me. And that's another major deal. If every day ask, if I'm saying, what do I have to say no to and what do I have to say yes to drive the vision I have for my life? Generational health is the only way you're going to get to generational wealth. I know you want your coins. But you need to be healthy to enjoy those coins, right? Mentally, spiritually, physically, all of it.
Yep.
All of it. So it's a critical thing. And understand, surround yourself with a community of people who are not doing nothing but building you up. They're building you up. If you're not part of the healing, I'm sorry. I got to put you at a distance. I'm not going to answer your call. I may have to block you if you're not getting the right. I may have to have a hard conversation with you. But the point is, we're going to have a separation, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, brother. Did you get to the 3 tips?
Yes, so it was. Number 1 was the breathing. So it's what people call mindfulness. Stop, breathe, and exhale. Slow down to take time for yourself throughout the day to just be present with yourself, to breathe and get the presence of mind that you need. All right, so stop, breathe, and exhale. All right. Number 2 was, hold on, what did I say? Number 2 was, determine what relationships, what people you need to pause, what people you need to distance.
Get to 3. That's what it was.
And number 3 was feed yourself foods that specifically heal you. That was number 3. So I think I said nutrition before the people, but that was it.
Where can they find which foods those are?
Absolutely. So the free food list that we've already created, it's an anti-inflammatory food list so that you can start just to incorporate these things in your lifestyle. Make changes little if you can't do it all at once, because people who need to do it all at once are the people in a crisis. You're in a crisis, book one of our free group consults. We'll go through your patient profile, help you get a plan for you if you're in a crisis. But you're looking to just transition to a healthier life, start to just download that free food list at the Detox Now right now. There's a button that says free food list. So it's www.thedetoxnow.com. thedetoxnow.com, and follow me because I'm always giving free tips. But that free food list is huge, and it also gives you tips on when it's best for you to eat, the way to support your digestive system, all of that. It's got really good information. Free, start there. And we have literally, through that, people start to make changes. This woman posted the other day how because she started making changes, her face, her acne, she had cystic acne. Acne isn't in, because we talk about skin, right? Skin and YelleSkincare and the beauty. Isn't it it starts inside, Yandy. It starts inside. And the reason her acne went away is because she started eating foods that right. Now, I wanted to also talk about as part of your overall healing process, women need to be careful about the feminine care products that they're using, right, Yandy? It is so important. And I'm so excited because I've seen you talking about Yandy Talks. And I want people to know, because, we're excited. We're going to be partnering with you on that the conventional commercial feminine products that are available out there, the names, all right, that are out there at CVS and all of them, they have dyes. They have dyes and toxins, chemicals in them that actually cause you to bleed more. Okay,
so none of them are FDA approved. There's no regulation in feminine hygiene products.
It's crazy.
And you are putting your little precious spot on those products all day, sometimes for 5 days.
More and more.
And just absorbing all of that toxicity.
And because you're putting it in your most vulnerable place, what's happening is it is actually pumping your body's getting those chemicals right there. It's getting those chemicals, and what's happening with those chemicals is it's causing that inflammation up there that causes more bleeding. It's like going to the dentist and they give you candy. All right, because they want you to buy more of those pads, so they're not making they have those dyes and those things that they know are toxic in them. All right, so I love what Yandy Talks. Yandy Talks Women is the page, right? But YandyTalks.com, I love that the pads are all organic cotton. They are free of those toxins, absolutely, and that's really important to incorporate into your care, because that will stop. Thank you for doing those 3 points. That will help you specifically as part of your lifestyle. Okay, and one thing I want you guys to know, because I want to set the bar, change the bar. Women think that it's normal for you to be bleeding 5-7 days and filling pads where they're, soaked. That is an indication that you have estrogen dominance, Yandy.
Yeah.
That is an indication something is wrong, because medically, I even searched through it medically. It is research studies. Medically, you're only supposed to bleed about 3 to 4 tablespoons. And women, and whenever I say that, they're like, what? What?
Women, let me see how many of you out there that bleed more than that and understand that is not normal.
Look at that.
Great information or what?
Talk about it. That's right. That's true.
They're like, really? What?
Yep.
Talk about it.
Because it's
because of all the trauma our bodies have been through, and we are from teenagers.
Yeah.
Teenage years.
Yes.
We go through this, and we are just prone to thinking that
Absolutely.
That is what our life is.
Because the GYNs will tell you, and they'll say, well, black women just bleed. Then they'll tell you this lie. Black women just bleed more. No, we have the trauma. We grew up, there's broken homes. There's the effects of poverty. There's the effect of what slavery has done to our, not just slavery, what racism has done to the effects of it have done to our family structure. There's the way that our people eat, because there's food deserts in our communities. There's the healthcare inequities that feed that as well. All of this causes a condition where we're disproportionately more affected by it. So when they tell you, oh, the normal is, it's normal for you to bleed like that. No, that's setting you up, because if you don't start making changes now, you're headed to the fibroids. And then they try to put you on birth control. Bam. And guess what? This sister who just shared her testimony is right in the link in my bio, and her name is Robin Michelle, and it's on in the website too. She just eliminated a 7+ centimeter fibroid on our program during quarantine in about 5 weeks, Yandy. All right. When she was in her 20s, her doctors put her on birth control because of her to regulate her cycle. She got married. And around that same time, she got back on birth control. She stopped it at that time. When she got married, she got back on birth control for contraception purposes, right? Within weeks, she had massive blood clots throughout her whole body from the birth control. Do not play with these hormonal birth controls, because they fuel the fibroids, because they're pumping your body with estrogen. There are natural remedies. I talk about them in this article I did with Media Planet, like neem oil. It's been researched. Neem oil, NEEM, can be used. There's also the fertility trackers that help specifically, because you can't get pregnant every day, Yandy. You can only get pregnant a certain number of days a month.
Right.
Isn't your body like literally the actual birth controls, the estrogen in them, it is classified as a group 1 carcinogen.
Yeah.
Do you want to be dealing with that just so you can have sex anytime you want to? Seriously? We're going to go from fighting what we're already fighting to cancer? Not.
Right.
Come on, my sisters. We can't live like this.
Yep. So you know what? This is such amazing information, and I keep asking you just to let them know how to find you. We're not ending right now.
Yes.
Just let them know. So many of our sisters are like, wait, they were tuned in, kind of listening, but when you said your period should last 3 to 4 days, they're like,
yes.
What? What?
Yes. Yes.
What? These are the things that in our communities we are constantly dealing with. And
yes.
battling with. And they need someone to speak truth to them. And
absolutely.
That's why I wanted to make sure I took the time out to do this live, because y'all know me, that I'm for my sisters. I am for the women all day, every day. And I want us to be better. I want us to live an amazing life to the full. And these are all the things that help us live to the full. One of the sisters in here said, I bleed for 13 days. That is not.
You need help, sis. Please book that free consult.
So cumbersome.
No.
And that's just too much.
Let's talk about neem oil for a second, because I saw a few goes. So you can use the oil, neem oil, actually as a lubricant. All right. And you can use it specifically. It helps to actually weaken. It helps to basically provide. You can buy it, go to Amazon. You go to health food store. You can buy it as Amazon, Whole Foods. That's how easily available these things are. It's the information they don't give us. All right?
That's right.
It's the information they don't give us.
Why would they give us the information? We keep going to get these procedures done. We're paying their salaries. We're keeping these hospitals.
Job security, cha-ching.
Job security. They don't want to give us this information ever. They don't even want to put healthy resources in our community, because we are the ones that have all the health issues, and we are keeping them.
And it's that way intentionally.
On salary.
And it's that way intentionally for us to have. Let's go back to the happy period, because this is what your period's supposed to be like. It's supposed to be like 3 to 5 days. All right. But brothers, this is for you too, because you got daughters, you got sisters. This is everybody. Right. It's supposed to be 3 to 5 days. It's supposed to be light flow, like spotting to light flow every day. All right. It's supposed to be light flow. Yes, that's a correct spelling. It's NEEM oil. On top of that, there should be no cramping. Oh my God, sisters, when you're living, the women in our detox living program, they've gone from going to the ER from cramps, being on narcotics for pain management, to, oh my God, did I have my period? That thing came and went and I didn't even feel it. That's what we're talking about. That's what the experience is supposed to be like for you. So let's raise the bar of what your experience is supposed to be. All right. So no migraines, no bloating. That's what it's supposed to be. What is abnormal is what we're supposed to think is normal. And we're suffering. It's affecting our careers. It's affecting our relationships. It's affecting our own self-esteem, Yandy, right? We feel shame around it. We feel shame like, man, like something's wrong with me. And I can't even, like, I'm wearing white because white is the color of Fibroids Awareness Month, because most women don't feel like wearing white because they're afraid they're going to have some breakthrough bleeding or whatever it is. But the truth is, when you're living a life that supports healing, meaning you're taking time to prioritize your self-care, you're taking time to evaluate the stressful thinking. There's a woman, a neuroscientist. Please listen to the session I did with her earlier this week. Phenomenal, Dr. Caroline Leaf. And she is a mental health and mind expert. And she has an app called Switch Your Brain. And it's all about eliminating toxic thoughts, taking those toxic thoughts and breaking them down. Because that's what we do in our coaching sessions. It's all about what actually is causing you to feel like you have to be Superwoman. We need to break that down, because that's a myth. That's a myth. You ain't got to be Superwoman. You have to be the real woman that you are, and that means you cry, you bleed. That means you cut just like everybody else, okay? But the reason you're not allowing yourself to be that is because you are carrying this. We're carrying the burden of our whole generation. Right, Yandy? It's like I'm actually, I'm having to be superwoman because everything is riding on me, but it's not
Yeah.
supposed to be that. It's supposed to be that I'm open to and I understand and I stand up for myself and I'm able to have healthy boundaries where I don't say yes to everything because I'm able to tell you no. My
right.
self-worth is not rooted in you telling me I'm good. My self-worth is in the fact that God created me, sweetheart, and he created me good. And because of his unconditional love and acceptance, that's all I need. But you need somebody to coach you through that. You need somebody to help you through that. Maybe it's therapy. I know we deal with it in our sessions. Maybe it's that Switch Your Mind app that Dr. Caroline Leaf has. But the point is getting the support system that you need and only allowing a circle around you of people that are supporting you. Because if they're not supporting your healing, they are, guess what? They're supporting your breakdown. They're supporting your destruction. And there can be no room for that. You are worth it. You are worthy. Understand? So when we say that the normal has become abnormal, we have to redefine what normal is supposed to be. Normal is supposed to be that I take time for me. Because when we don't, we're teaching our kids that we have to work literally like slaves to be worthy every day. Right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is some powerful information, and I am so thankful that you've taken the time to get on here and talk to us ladies. You know, what can they do right now, going forward today, to start to change and live a healthy life that supports their femininity, that supports womanhood? Because I think that this is the type of thing that starts right now. Like,
absolutely.
Now, no opportunity wasted.
Absolutely.
So today, when we get off this live, what can these women do? I want to leave them with some real tangible practicals that they can use the minute we sign off of this live, so that I'll feel like, because I don't go on live often.
I feel honored. I feel honored.
I want to make sure that this was worth it, that no one leaves like, oh, that was great information, and they go back and they forget what they heard. You know, I want to make sure I leave them with this information and they feel changed. They feel like they are ready for this next victorious story. And then I also want them to be able to share it with other women in their lives, because this is a pandemic. We're in a pandemic, but we've already been living in a pandemic.
We've been living in a pandemic all our lives.
Our entire existence.
Our entire existence.
And just like we are taking precautions to get rid of COVID in our communities, let's take precautions to get rid of this that is breaking down our women, that's causing infertility, that's causing us to be stressed, that's causing trauma on our bodies, and us absorbing all these toxins. I want to see tons and tons of babies running around.
Amen.
Like me.
Yes, yes.
And I want us to be able to do that. I don't want hysterectomy to be the reasons why. Okay, I'm not having any more babies, because I saw someone say, Yandy, just show us the bump. I'm not pregnant right now, but and I don't want to be right now. I want to enjoy my life with my husband for a little while.
That's right.
But eventually, you know, that's something that I do want to do. And I'm just like, I don't want there to be, because I've suffered with fibroids in the past, and I've gone on your detox program, and there's so many issues that I had that I no longer have anymore.
Praise God.
And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the supplements. I'm thankful for our mentorship and you talking and helping me, like, with therapy and all of that. That has been important. And one of the key things that have been important for me is that taking a moment when I have these high stress moments, going to a quiet place, going in the bathroom, closing the door, and just taking 2 minutes to breathe and pray.
Yes.
That's been so powerful for the clarity that I need. It's been powerful for me with homeschooling and
Girl, hold on. Let's stop right now and take a moment to breathe. Just you saying that word was
baby Lord.
Woo, Jesus, thank you, Lord.
Other women out there like, you don't have any idea. I got 5 kids. I know. I got 2.
I know.
I got 7. I know. But please give them information on how they can change this today.
Yes. Okay. So number 1 is knowledge is power, right? So I'm going to go back to, you know, you have to have trusted sources of information. I would love to be that trusted source of information for you. Okay. So please follow me. You can do that in 2 seconds. Secondly, we have a whole MP3 teleseminar that breaks down, for those who need to know more about estrogen dominance, it really goes into how it's reflected, the issues with this, all of that, because there's so much we can share in this time, right? That's, again, right at the same website that's pinned, thedetoxnow.com. When you sign up to be on our Detox Nation email list, you receive it. You can listen to it as well as free webinars we have. So the very first thing is to get educated, right? So that's why I said a trusted access, trusted sources of information. And that's building a new community for you, all right? Because what's going to happen is when we get good information and we go back to our same community, but we don't have a support system, we lose it, right? But when we now have a community that is a trusted voice that we can now refer to and grow with, that now changes us because it changes what we're exposed to. So becoming, getting that free download, following me, get that free download, that's going to change your community and give you access and information. I cannot stress how important. I'm going to go back to that stop, breathe, and exhale because it literally has changed my life, and I've seen it change I don't know how many people's lives, all right? Just like you mentioned earlier. Understanding the power, and I talk about this in many of my sessions, understanding the power of taking care of yourself by just honoring your own breath. Honoring your own breath by slowing down, go to the bathroom. Everybody has time to go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom when you need a minute and just get that moment to breathe and decompress. For me, as a woman of faith, I breathe and I say, God, I need you right now. And I receive his grace. I receive healing, and I receive love and everything that I need. And then now I'm not by myself. See, the thing is, we're trying to live on our own. We're trying to, and we're maxing out, we're burning out because we're trying to live of our own strength. But you are designed and created in the image of God. And what he has for you is joy, strength, and power. So whatever your faith is, access the power of your faith by first slowing down and being in that moment of taking those deep breaths to gain clarity. Because there's nothing, let me tell you something, the major difference when we take time to breathe and exhale is that we gain clarity, and it shifts our decision making, Yandy, right? Because in a minute, if I hadn't stopped, I would have went off. If I hadn't stopped, I could have did something that could have changed the trajectory of my life. But because I stopped, I could have abused my child by saying something that I really didn't want to say. I know I had the moments. You know what I'm talking about? You feel like you want to throw your child out the window, right? But I had to stop, breathe, and exhale. And that's really important because it's not about hearing a whole bunch of information. It's about taking one thing I can do to change. And one thing I'm going to recommend that you do is change your breakfast every day now. This is something that we started with you, Yandy, right? Change your breakfast. In your breakfast every morning, there's this misconcept that you need to have a heavy breakfast. You need to have an electrifying breakfast every morning. For 7 to 10 days, actually the next 10 days, we want you can do more if you want, but to have like either cantaloupe or honeydew or black seeded watermelon is in season now. Only the ones that are seeded. Have that with hemp seeds and raw organic pumpkin seeds for breakfast. That's on the food list. So when you go on the food list, you'll see it. Okay. Have that for breakfast. The protein is going to come from the hemp seeds. The protein is going to come from the organic pumpkin seeds. And for me, what I do is I have something called electric cereal every day. It's a quarter cup of hemp seeds, a quarter cup of pumpkin seeds, and a quarter cup of raw organic rolled oats. And I put on top of that either some dates, date syrup, which is yummy, 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 as well as I'll have some, either you could put organic black currant or raisins or black mulberries. All of these things are in the list, but you put that and some oat milk. When I tell you that cereal charges me every day, I feel like,
it's so good. And the bowl actually presents a bowl of cantaloupe. Like you
yes,
the seeds of the cantaloupe,
yes.
And we put all that mixture in the cantaloupe with some. We used to use organic coconut.
Oh, coconut nectar or coconut nectar.
Coconut extract.
Oh, coconut milk. Or you can use see, the milk can be.
We use like not the coconut milk that you get from the store, but like organic.
Yes.
100%.
I have an Amazon store. Oh, and this makes it easy too. So I have a shopping list, a free shopping list on my Amazon store. And when you go to the detoxnow.com, it's on one of those sliders. But it's just the detoxnow.com/Amazon. But you go to the site. I created a whole shopping list that makes it easy for you to shop for foods that are easy for you. And that coconut milk, is on there. It's called Aroy D coconut milk. When I tell
Yeah,
you,
it's really, really good.
when I tell you, just do that for me, y'all. For the next, take this challenge to make your first meal of the day, because whatever you choose to be your first meal of the day, it actually changes your appetite for the rest of the day. The way that it changes your digestive system for the rest of the day. Start by doing that. All right. Change is not about implementing a whole bunch of different things at one time, because it's not sustainable. Change is about making one thing at a time that you're now incorporating into your lifestyle. What I say is called you metabolize that change, okay? So even now, I know, Yandy, you're like, when I know what I do, I'm gonna have that. And I have that, it'll make me feel like I can face the day easily, right? And it's resetting your body. So make that one change. Do the stop, breathe, the exhale. Sign up to get the free, food list and all that, but make that one, because you're gonna feel like, well, what can I eat? Make that one change in your diet. Change what you eat, and then let me know how you feel with that.
Absolutely. And you guys make sure you
Oh, somebody said it doesn't have to be coconut milk. There's oat milk. I eat Oatly brand coconut milk. I mean, oat milk is really good. It's a great alternative. All right. So hemp milk is a good alternative, because somebody said, no, not coconut milk, but try it. What were you about to say? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, what I was going to say is, guys, make sure you follow her. Make sure you go to The Detox Now. The Detox Now. I keep saying the, but it's thedetoxnow.com.